I'm a little sports goblin.
All right, welcome in everybody to Fan2Fan Detroit. I'm your host, Andrew Norris. This is Double P, producer Parker. We have a lot to talk about this week. Obviously, week 3 of the NFL season is wrapping up as we speak. The Miami Heat just advanced to the NBA Finals, taking down the Celtics in 6 games. For a minute there, it really looked like it was going to go 7. So the NBA Finals will start on Wednesday. And then we have a new segment for you, Would You Rather, Sports Edition. It's an idea Parker came up with that I love. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Wait, I'm not the person who came up with Would You Rather. I will not Ian Carmel this.
For this particular show, it was Parker's idea to do this segment on this particular date. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do that at the end of the show. But let's get started. Let's start with the Lions this week, since it's not sad Detroit this week.
Yeah.
They pulled off an upset victory against what looked like an absolute powerhouse of a team in the Arizona Cardinals until they ran into, wait a minute, Matt Patricia's defense?
Oh.
Matt Patricia's defense was the biggest problem they've had this year? First of all, does that make any sense? Like, based on what we saw the first 2 weeks, how does this coin just flip like that? Where does that come from?
I think that the Cardinals gave this game away. In my opinion, the Cardinals lost this game more than the Lions won this game. I did not think – I have some defensive complaints, and I think so do you. I think that Patricia getting a second crack at this offense, basically the same. They're kind of the same from last year. There's some obviously DeAndre Hopkins-sized variables, but at the end of the day, the way that offense functions is basically the same. So – I guess we kind of saw a little bit of that bend don't break work a little more this week than it has in previous weeks. Okudah was much better today. What do you think?
Yes. Yeah, Okudah was much better. In the first half, he was tackling machine outside of that Kyler Murray play. But, I mean, that's just Kyler Murray being Kyler Murray. That wasn't like Okudah's the worst defender in the world. I know it looked bad, but I think he could have made most defenders in the league look exactly like that on that play. He lost it a little bit in the second half outside of the interception. He missed a couple tackles on Nuke Hopkins. But, I mean, miles better than he was last week. Miles better. He was in better position. On a lot of the plays you saw where Nuke Hopkins just had like 5 yards of open space when Okudah was covering him. I think, again, that's more of a scheme issue than it was on Okudah. Okudah's supposed to take those extra 5 yards back and give him those first 5 yards. They're not playing press man. But when he was in the position, which was more common this week than it was last week, he typically made the play, including a huge interception on Kyler Murray's third interception of the game, where he got an awesome block for Duron Harmon, which turned into 20 more yards down the field. And then the offense wasn't able to capitalize on it. What you said about the Cardinals losing this game more than the Lions winning this game, I couldn't agree more with. The Lions should have scored 40 points in this game. Especially the thing that probably bugged me the most from this Lions offense was after that third interception, they have great field position and they go 3 into a field goal. 3 plays into a field goal. Just nothing got going on offense.
Yeah. Stafford
didn't look great. Really, this whole season, he hasn't looked great. He's been good. He was good today, especially in the fourth quarter. But he hasn't looked like last year's Stafford from the first 8 games of the season, which was like an MVP caliber quarterback.
I didn't particularly care for Stafford today. In my opinion, I just didn't. I thought it just seems like him and Amendola don't really have chemistry. Obviously, Kenny Golladay being back, there was some bigger plays, but I just haven't seen the consistency. He missed 2 guys wide open in the end zone back to back. That was bad off one of those interceptions. Of course, it is house policy on the show to never blame Matt Stafford for a win or a loss or a mediocre win. This is as close as I come to that.
Yeah, and I would agree. But outside of just the general big picture things that we all saw happen in this game, I thought there was a couple interesting takeaways. For one, on Twitter, so many Lions fans are clamoring about Swift and Kerryon Johnson. They need more playing time. And I get it. I really do get it. But when Adrian Peterson is playing as good as he's playing right now, like, you got to give him the rock. And you can't just be like, okay, well, we're 0-2. Here you go, DeAndre Swift and Kerryon Johnson. Hope you can play well. We're still, as much as I don't want to admit this, we're still in a position where you have to try to win, especially with a coach and a GM who are fighting for their jobs. You can't expect those guys to just roll over and die, as much as some of us want them to. And I get it. We don't want these guys in control of this franchise anymore. But Adrian Peterson right now is the best running back on the team, especially on first and second down long yardage and third down short yardage, which is mainly when this team's running the ball, and every other team. But you got to keep him in there. We saw Go ahead. If you want to talk about
I do think that no rushing attempts and no receptions one reception for DeAndre Swift is probably not good. I don't know exactly what it means, but I don't think it means anything good.
Yeah, he only played 5 snaps today, so he is clearly third on the depth chart. But a lot of that, of course, has to do with Adrian Peterson got 22 carries today. Don't worry, Lions fans. That's not going to happen throughout the whole season. He's 35 years old. It can't happen throughout the whole season. And then Kerryon got hot in the second half. He was playing as good as we've seen him play over the last couple of years, making big plays, finding holes, getting some catches, doing everything that we thought he was going to be able to do 2 years ago. So I still think Swift's going to work his way up. I think Kerryon will get more touches like he did this week. You just got to be patient. It's coming.
Kerryon was on the field a lot last week. He was the guy in the first offensive possession. It was all Kerryon Johnson, and that's a scripted possession. They know what they're going to do. So I'm less worried about the Kerryon Johnson involvement. I think when Peterson's like Zeke, man, when he's like hungry and he's eating, you just gotta feed it to him.
Yeah, 100%. Now, we saw a great Matthew Stafford at 2 points in this game. It was at the end of the second quarter and pretty much the entire fourth quarter. He had that touchdown drive when it went, we scored a touchdown, Cardinals scored a touchdown, we scored a touchdown. That third touchdown drive to end the half was money. I mean, perfect. The biggest play of that drive, in my opinion, he saw the blitz coming. He had Swift, that was the one reception he had Swift out to his left, put him out wide. The blitz came and he hit Swift for like a 16-yard pickup. Basically made that drive what it was, allowed us to get the touchdown. And then, of course, the fourth quarter, fourth quarter Matthew Stafford. He was as good as it gets, especially that final drive. It was chef's kiss perfect. I mean, perfect. It couldn't have been better. He had like a 50-yard pass to the GOAT himself, Marvin Hall, taken off the board by a holding penalty, which I'm still a little bit skeptical about because they didn't show the replay one time.
I didn't see that.
That's ridiculous that they didn't show that replay. Is that fishy to you? That's fishy to me.
No, it's not. Who was it on? Who did they call it on? Was it Big V?
Big V.
So rough game for Big V. I bet that was a hold.
But he's also playing right guard. Like, I don't understand what they were doing there, but it worked.
Yeah,
the offensive line wasn't horrible today. Now, the biggest adjustment in this game was the thing we have all been waiting for 3 years, and that was they put pressure on the quarterback. Not a ton. They only had 2 quarterback hits. They only had a few pressures, but they were blitzing. They were getting in Kyler Murray's face, not all the way, but they were pushing the offensive line back and making him rush just a little bit, which showed that it works. He threw 3 interceptions today. Patricia finally made the adjustment we've all been asking for. The number one thing. There's a couple things I would rather have him do, or I would have him do on top of that, but that was the number one thing. And I think if he can continue doing that into next week when we get Trufant back, and then after the bye when we get Coleman back, maybe, just maybe, this won't be the worst defense we've ever seen. Am I completely bought into that? Not by a long shot. But am I bought into the idea that it can maybe be better than what we saw in week 2 against the Packers or in the fourth quarter against the Bears? Yeah, I'm pretty bought into that.
Some good takeaways on the defense. I have a question for you, and this is a question that I genuinely don't know the answer to or haven't thought about, but it is something that I just kept seeing. DeAndre Hopkins has 10 receptions for 130 yards or whatever, and Kyler Murray at one point is 20 for 30, 3 picks, nine receptions to DeAndre Hopkins. why not double cover DeAndre Hopkins?
And that's where we run back into the Patricia problem, right? Because it's the
Right?
bend, don't break defense. So as I was talking about earlier, they aren't going to play that press man coverage with Okudah. So what that's doing is and Hopkins is one of the best route runners, one of the best catchers of the football in the National Football League. And what that did is he could just run a little curl 9 yards out every time, and it's waiting for him.
Yeah.
They finally made the adjustment, like going into the fourth quarter, and did it a little bit. But we should have seen more of that earlier, especially with Kirk out where you don't have that huge other options. Larry Fitzgerald's a million years old. Like, we should have seen that earlier. Now, here's where I'm at with the team as a whole. I don't believe in them at all. I think this was a fluke. I saw some good signs, but I don't believe it's going to be consistent. What they have to do to prove to me that this team is worth rooting for wins for and not giving up on is beat the Saints next week. Because what happens if you beat the Saints next week with dead arm Drew Brees and a bad defense is you go into a bye feeling good about yourself, and then you come out of that bye with a schedule where you face the Jaguars, the Falcons, who blew another huge lead today. We'll get to that later. The Colts, who are 2-1 but don't look great. The Vikings, the 0-3 Vikings, the Washington football team, the Carolina Panthers, the Houston Texans, and then the Chicago Bears again. If you go into the bye 2-2, you have to at least be feeling decent. Otherwise, you're kind of lying to yourself because you don't want to get your heart broken again.
That's a slate of a bunch of pretty bad to mediocre teams. Like the Texans are going to have some The Texans have problems. They faced three really good teams, including the Steelers, who are also very good, might I add.
Two very good teams and one okay team that just happens to be 3-0. We'll get to that later as well. I have thoughts on that.
Yeah. The Falcons suck. The Panthers suck. The Jaguars suck. And the Vikings suck. I don't think the Bears are that good. Somebody's going to have to show me some very specific tape because I've watched a lot of Bears and they are not good. No. Maybe Foles is better than Trubisky. Maybe, big maybe. But there's a reason why Trubisky was starting over Foles. So I think that's a bunch of winnable games. And even if you go in 1-3, I think you've kind of got to look at this and go, okay, we played four really good teams. And we are in, theoretically, I'm including the Bears as the theoretical good team. And we went 1-3. And we are in, and if it's competitive against the Saints, we are in 3 of those 4 games. I think that you kind of got to look at it and go, I don't know, could be worse.
No, you do not. We've been doing that for all of eternity. Like, that is what we do. We were 3-4-1 last year, and we were acting like this team was going to go to the Super Bowl. Like, every Lions fans was like, oh, we almost beat the Chiefs. Oh, we almost beat the Packers. Moral victories, they work in year 1 of a new head coach. Year 3 of a head coach, get your moral victories out of my face. Otherwise, what we are is we're the person who gets cheated on, and we turn back to the person who cheated on us over and over and over again and expect it to be different. Doing the same thing and expecting different results is the definition of insanity. And I understand that we're not choosing to be insane. We've been driven there by this franchise, but we can't give them the benefit of the doubt anymore. We are well past that.
So after the bye week, if they win their next 2 games and they're 3-3, what do you think?
They beat some bad teams. They're lucky to be 3-3.
Okay, I think 3-3 would be about how I'd feel about that team if they manage to play close to the Saints and then win their next 2 games. I mean, you're gonna get you get to play some bad teams sometimes. You know, it's okay to beat bad teams and then go, okay, so we're better than the bad teams. So if the Lions can go 9-7 and look at a playoff spot, I'd be feeling pretty good about that.
Are we ready to make that? I know we started before the season. We were there. We were like 9-7, 10-6. After the first 2 weeks, we were ready to burn Ford Field to the ground. They beat the Cardinals today. Are we ready to jump back on the side of maybe this is a 9-7 team?
No, but I don't think that firing Patricia at the bye is going to do anything. That's kind of where I'm at.
What if they lose 42-21 to the Saints next week?
I still don't think what's firing Patricia going to do for you, I guess is my question. What do you
stops letting this defense make bad and worse habits week after week after week.
I guess I just don't see like whatever who is the defensive coordinator right now?
Undlin. It's the Eagles' old corner coach who's Matt Patricia's bud, and he hasn't changed the defense at all. He was supposed to come in here and call the defense, but now it sure looks like the idea when they brought him in was, hey, I'm going to get you your first DC job, but you're not changing shit.
Yeah, so that's why I don't really think that firing Patricia at the bye at this point is going to do anything. If you're 0-4 and you're this young, it's kind of like the new owner thing too. If you're 0-4 and you want to prove that the culture is changing, then you fire Patricia. But if you're 1-3 and you've been pretty competitive in a lot of games, then you look at that Bears game as like a crazy all-time anomaly that the Lions, to be fair, have had a lot of.
Is it an all-time anomaly anymore when it happens every other week?
Well, it's kind of like the Seahawks always play the most insane football games. The Chargers play the nuttiest games. And the Lions are just like, I guess the Falcons have been that way this year, where their games have been just like so weird and strenuous to watch. The Lions are just in like kind of a weird class of that.
I don't necessarily disagree. I'm just like, as I told you after week 1, I finally hit the point where I understood same old Lions fans, right? Yeah. I finally got it. And I want to stay here because I know what happens if I don't. If I don't stay here, they win a couple games and you're like, oh my God, are they going to do this? Are they going to turn this thing around? And then they lose to the fucking Jaguars. Like,
oh no.
That is what the Lions do. They need to beat the Saints next week. If they beat the Saints next week, I'll say, you know what? Maybe. They go into the bye week, they beat the Jags. They're 3-2. Then you're going to see me shouting from the rooftops that this team's awesome. But before that moment, I will not believe. I refuse to believe. I refuse to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I refuse to let them do what they've done to me my entire time as a Lions fan. And that is break my heart, stomp on it, put it back in, fix it, right? I get a little surgery. I'm not feeling great. Rip it back out and stomp on it again. And that's what they do. It's what they're made for. And we've now, let's not forget, this is a 10-24 coach or whatever it is.
11-24 now.
No, 10 now. 10 now. Today was 10. And the one tie because he blew an 18-point lead against this Cardinals team. But I'm not buying in yet. As much as I was excited watching this game today, I refuse to allow myself to be made a fool by this joke of an organization. Fine, I'm done with the Lions. Let's go around the league. Let's start there.
Yeah, there's not a lot to say. They fucking suck still. They got lucky.
Thank you. That's all I was looking for. Another 16-point comeback for the Bears, except this one was a little bit different. And why was it a little bit different? Because it was Nick Foles doing the comeback. The second Mitch Trubisky sucked, they got his ass out of there. They put Nick Foles in, and he looked really good. He looked really, really good. And is that a product of the Falcons being what they've been so far, which is like the start of a Lions season on steroids, or is it a product of Nick Foles?
I think that the Falcons are just not something just not right in the soup there. It's just not going right, man. I don't know what it is. You and I were way ahead of everybody on this. The Falcons were going to suck, and they just like keep doing the same thing, but they get 5% worse every year. And eventually that like kind of reaches ahead. And I think that's what this is. This is they've been 5% worse for the last 4 years after the Super Bowl or whatever, however many years. And now they're a bad team. And this is just what happens. The cycle of life and death continues.
So the Falcons are 0-3. When is their bye? Their bye's not for a while. How much longer does Dan Quinn make it there? If they lose next week, is he gone?
Probably. Who do they play next week? Let me ask you that. Who do the Falcons play?
They play.
They play the Saints. No, they don't play
the Packers. So it's Packers, Panthers.
Oh, no,
fine. So they're going to lose to the Panthers, and then if they go and lose to the Panthers, he's for sure gone. For sure. If they start 0-5, especially with how this offense has looked, he's a defensive head coach. Your responsibility is the defense. This Falcons offense has looked really good. They've scored
at moments
25, 39, and 26. I mean, that's a good offense. They haven't been able to finish in the fourth, but I mean, when you're giving up 38, 40, and 30, what do you expect? Hold on 1 second. There's a car alarm going off outside. I want to make sure it's not mine. Is that my car?
Yeah.
I don't have my keys. The Buffalo Bills are fucking awesome. Awesome. Josh Allen, right now, I mean, we're in week 3, and it feels like the MVP conversation's already coming down to 2 guys. Josh Allen, Russell Wilson.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Because Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are still in the league, and they haven't played in week 3 yet. And whoever wins that game is going to be the odds-on favorite to be MVP.
Russell Wilson is the odds-on favorite right now. He has the most passing touchdowns through 3 weeks of anybody ever.
I'll believe it when it happens because I know it's MVP is a narrative award, sure. So maybe that it's Russell's time narrative takes hold. But sorry, nobody's going to convince me that right now through 3 weeks that like Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson are not going to be MVPs. I don't care. Sorry, I got to see more football.
You think Russell Wilson, if he continued this, it would be a narrative MVP? He has like I just said, the most passing touchdowns through 3 weeks of anybody ever. They're 3-0, and his defense is garbage.
So if Russell Wilson throws the most passing TDs of all time, then sure, yeah, he should win the MVP. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. There will be some regression. There will be tape, and eventually things will change.
Of course, there's going to be some regression, but I don't think he's going to need to throw the most passing touchdowns ever to be the MVP. If he does 70% of what he's doing right now, he's going to win the MVP.
No, I don't think so.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm not saying that I don't think that like Russell Wilson shouldn't be like in that conversation in the top 2-3 guys. But I definitely don't think Josh Allen is there. No offense to Josh Allen. No, this is not Josh Allen hate. This is not Josh Allen slander. I do not think that he is an MVP level quarterback. However, he could be a Pro Bowl level quarterback this year. I don't see why not.
Right now, we're doing our top 3. If the season ended today, you're putting Pat Mahomes over Josh Allen, who had a horrible week 2?
Well, we got to see at least 3 weeks of football. I'm saying that when Pat Mahomes throws for 400 yards and when Lamar Jackson tomorrow on Monday has 100 yards in the ground and 250 yards in the air, that it's going to be like the whole thing is going to change.
I'd put Lamar over Patty Mahomes right now. I'd put Alvin Kamara over Patty Mahomes right now. I mean, there's a few people. I think Patty Mahomes is got a lot of ground to make up, especially on Russ. If you want to say your top 3 is Russ, Lamar, then Josh Allen, sure. But Josh Allen right now is in that conversation.
He's at the end of that conversation. I like Alvin Kamara more than I like Josh Allen as an MVP candidate right now because the rest of the team surrounding Josh Allen fucking rocks. They're super good everywhere on the field. Josh Allen doesn't have to do the heavy lifting that I feel like some of these other guys are doing. Russell Wilson in particular, sure, doing a lot of heavy lifting. Has the best offense around him he's ever had, maybe. Pretty close.
I'm going to give you the game log of Josh Allen so far. Week 1, 72% completion, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, 57 yards on the ground, and a rushing touchdown. Week 2, 69% completion, 4 touchdowns, no picks, only 19 yards on the ground. Week 3, 311 yards, 73% completion, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. He has 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, and over 1,000 yards through 3 weeks.
He has the most talent around him of almost anybody else in the NFL.
Because he's got Stephon Diggs and Devin Singletary?
Well, I'm talking about the defense, too. I'm talking about the defense, the coaching, the special teams, and the guys around him. I mean, the rest of those other receivers are pretty good, too. Cole Beasley's pretty good for what he's doing. And they allowed 32 points to the Rams today. It's not like that defense is the best defense in the league. He's not playing with the Legion of Boom Seahawks. I'm sorry. I'm just very firm. I'm still very firm in this is the Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes award until further notice.
But we would have felt that way about Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady for the last decade, and that's not how it works.
I mean, it was almost how it worked.
But it's not how it works. I mean, you don't like even if Patty Mahomes has better numbers than Josh Allen, like by 8%, he doesn't get the MVP over him because he's already got the one, and that's just how it works. Like voter fatigue sets in quick.
I know that as a LeBron fan, you maybe have a little bit of misgivings about the way the MVP awards are doled out. But if you think that Josh Allen is going to win the MVP award, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't. I think Russell Wilson is going to win the MVP award.
Oh.
Also, I just think it's bananas to say he's not in the running right now because he's been the second at worst, third best quarterback in football so far this season. I'm triggered. I'm absolutely triggered.
You think? Sorry, he's at minimum the fourth best quarterback in the NFL this year. Right now.
Name 3 guys who have been better than him this year. I'm not talking resume. I'm talking this year. Who has been better than him? You can say Lamar and you can say Russ. I would disagree with Lamar, but those are the 2 names you can say. Patrick Mahomes, through the 2 games he's played, this might change tomorrow, but through the 2 games he's played has not been better than Josh Allen.
I don't see that. I just don't. When I watch it on the field, that's just not what I see, man. I don't know what else to tell you. I can't believe that I'm the anti-Josh Allen guy on this show. That's crazy. I love Josh Allen. I just don't see that.
Disclaimer for everybody listening: Josh Allen's also my fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, why don't you put that out there?
But also, like week 2, Patty Mahomes had 23 points to beat the Chargers in OT. Like, Josh Allen's been better than him. It's just that simple. And Patty Mahomes is the better quarterback. I don't want to get that twisted. He's the better quarterback. But so far, Josh Allen has been the second best quarterback.
Like,
we're third best quarterback in the league.
Winning when was it Dirk Nowitzki when he won the MVP? Or Steve Nash? I don't know. That feels like a pretty zany MVP if somehow Josh Allen was winning. Or was even involved in the conversation. I can't believe I'm the Josh Allen hater. It just blows my mind.
I just don't think you're giving the guy enough credit for how good he started this year. He's been unbelievable, including a passing touchdown with 15 seconds left today to win the game.
I think if you took this week away, Kyler Murray has been as good as him.
But you're not taking this week away.
Well, but we have to give Pat Mahomes and Lamar Jackson their week 3 then.
And also, I would disagree with you on that as well. Kyler Murray has not been better than him.
2 weeks. Yeah, I think so. I think he's been as good.
Why? Because he put up 30 on the football team and had 286 with 1 touchdown and a pick.
He's been a pretty unstoppable monster of offense.
Now, by the way, your boy Kyler Murray now has
also. How about that, Aaron Rodgers?
No, not better.
He's got 30 points on the Saints right now.
Yeah, cool. Everybody's put up 30 points on the Saints so far. Kyler Murray, by the way, just so you know, for the season now has 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So
yeah, today was bad for Kyler Murray. My bandwagon has taken we're kind of like looking at the bottom of the hill and kind of going, ooh, are we going a little fast for this hill? Maybe we're starting to look around a little bit. We're observing our surroundings.
We're going to revisit this every week so I can see how quickly I become wrong, because I'm sure it'll be quick. But again, my point is, up to this point in the season, he's been that good.
Aaron Rodgers is my third guy for that. He's taken apart 3 defenses.
Yeah, and one of them was the Detroit Lions.
Well, that's a good point.
And the other one was the Vikings, who have also allowed like over 30 points in every game.
So here's my question for you. Who's the third best team in the NFL? Because I think you and I probably both feel pretty confident, at least that the Chiefs and the Ravens are the 2 best teams in the NFL.
Yes.
So who's the third best team in the NFL? Is it the Seahawks? Is it the Bills? Is it the Packers, who might be 3-0 after this potentially?
It's not the Packers.
Is it the Buccaneers, who looks pretty good this week, I thought?
I'm going to say that it's the Seahawks. But if they want to keep that place, they have to add a piece at the trade deadline. They have to add a piece at the trade deadline on defense, because that defense is not good enough to like be a Super Bowl contending team right now. Russell Wilson is that good. He's off to one of the greatest starts ever. But I'm going to say them, and the Bills are like this far behind.
This is going to piss you off. I think it's the Bills. I think the Bills are the third best team in the NFL this year.
Okay.
Right. I just think that, like, from what I've seen all around, they just look so good at everything.
Yeah, because Devin Singletary is leading that team to the third best team in the league. That's why. Not Josh Allen, the future MVP, but Devin Singletary and fucking Stephon Diggs.
115 all-purpose yards for Devin Singletary today.
Wow, good for him. You want to know why? Because they're terrified of Josh Allen.
I don't think terrified is the right word for how anybody feels. Aware of, I think, is probably more accurate.
Yeah, right. Because he's like the third best running quarterback and the fifth best passing quarterback in the league right now.
So let me ask you this as a follow-up. Who's the worst team in the NFL? I tell you what, I'm really rooting for the Vikings right now. Just look like they just do not have their shit together at all.
I'm going to say the Giants.
I've never understood the Daniel Jones hype. He kind of like in some moments looks good, and then in other moments looks like Mark Sanchez. So
that was the case last year. I came into this year thinking he was going to take like some sort of step. I think the way I described him preseason was I don't think this guy is a future franchise quarterback, but he could get up to like the Jared Goff line. Probably. No, he can't. He's scored 16, 13, and 9 points so far this season. I feel pretty comfortable saying the Giants. I think they're going to win 2 games, maybe.
Yeah, the Giants, no Saquon is pretty toothless.
It's rough.
No, nothing for the Jets for you? You don't think that the Jets are – you think the Jets are better?
Yeah, I think if they played, it'd be like 14-13, like Jets.
Boy, that'd be like a baseball game, man. We're talking 9-6.
Also, if this continues for the Jets, I know Crowder's hurt and there's not many options on offense, but it might be time to move on from Sam Darnold.
Certainly feels like when David Carr got drafted by the Texans, back when the Texans were like a first franchise expansion team, and David Carr got hit more than any quarterback has ever been hit ever in the history of the game. And it basically ruined his development as a quarterback. And he kind of always was stuck because he couldn't get anything done. And he started seeing ghosts, as they say. I think that we are in danger of that happening to Sam Darnold with these Jets. I think Sam Darnold showed a lot of flashes of being a good quarterback and has just summarily been executed by the badness of the Jets all around.
Yeah, I think he's just like Johnny Manziel without addiction problems.
I have no thoughts on that. That's for sure. I just watched my 8th Madden Classic of the day today, by the way, for a touchdown.
Yeah, which just won me my other league's fantasy game where I needed – let's talk about this real quick because in my other league, the league where I'm not with you, I'm going to talk about that first. I was down 67 points going into the Sunday night game. Kamara got me 43. Rodgers got me 24. But in the main league, I am playing you this week.
Yeah.
3 hours ago, it was over. It was done. You had conceded. You waved the white flag. It was over. And then all of a sudden, the same guy who won me my other week, Alvin Kamara, has 37 for you right now. You are 2.16 points behind me, and there's 2 minutes left. You're going to need a touchdown, though, because I got Butker going tomorrow.
Yeah, I had a tough week. I have a good team in our league, but tough week this week. We're going to regroup. We're going to take a look around us, survey the field, and come back stronger next week. We're going to make the adjustments.
We're in the same division, and if I want to beat you, I'm going to need either one wide receiver or one running back. That's all I'm missing. But if I want to get to the top of this league, I'm missing one of those two things. And I got to trade. I got to find somebody who's going to buy high on Odell. Which one of your friends is dumb?
I'm not answering that because I'm trying to trade with my friends that are dumb.
The Browns, 69 points in the last 2 weeks. Nice. Running-based offense looks scary.
Yeah.
I mean, the two-headed monster of Hunt and Chubb that can do literally everything coming out of the backfield. Both of them can catch the ball. Both of them can break off a 40-yard rush.
Yeah.
Both of them can score in the red zone. Both of them can get, bust through on a 4th and 1. They can do everything. They've taken a lot of the pressure off of Baker, who, I don't even know if he cracked 200 yards today, and they had...
He's been game managing pretty big. It's worked for him, though.
Oh, yeah, it worked big time. They had 34 points. He had 156 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, no picks. So whatever the system they're running is working. Now,
Yeah,
of course, they beat the football team this week and the Bengals last week. But are you ready to buy in like a little bit?
No, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there yet with the Browns. I want to see him beat the Steelers. That's what I would like to see.
All right, they got the Cowboys next week. How about that?
Yeah, I think if they beat the Cowboys, are the Cowboys good? Do we know for sure?
No, Dak looks like he's worth the money, though, maybe, which I never
I
thought I'd
don't
hear
know.
myself say.
I don't know
But
about
like
that
you got to remember that offensive line is not what it used to be. That defense is trash, as they have now allowed 77 points in the last 2 weeks.
Defense is
But
pretty
the
bad.
offense looks really good. So I'm gonna say they're good, but it's like the Cowboys of the last decade good. 8-8, 9-7 good. It's not like 11-5 good.
Much the way that the Lions are magically able to lose any football game at any time, the Cowboys at any given season are capable of going 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. It's truly a mathematical anomaly.
All right, I'm gonna let you talk about this next one because I don't want to talk about it because I'm annoyed about it. The Steelers are 3-0. Like I know they beat the Giants, the Broncos, and the Texans, so don't get too excited.
Sure.
But how good are they?
Good to pretty good. I don't know if I think they're great. I think they'll probably end up being a playoff team. They strike me so far as a pretty clear, frisky first round exit team. But wouldn't it be great if they like drew the Patriots in week 1 and could win for the first time in however many years? That would be interesting. I could see that happening.
Yeah, this schedule is a fucking cakewalk.
Yeah.
Titans, Eagles, Browns, Ravens, Cowboys. So there's a little rough patch there, but then Bengals, Jags, Ravens, Washington, Bills. Oh, I guess not as easy as I thought. Ravens, Washington, Bills, Bengals, Colts, Browns. So it's a lot of like mid-level teams, and then throw in the Ravens.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 8-8. I think they go 5-8 the rest of the year.
That's okay. Well, I'm going to say that they go 8-5 the rest of the year. How about that?
So they're an 11-win team. That doesn't sound like a first-round exit to me.
Let's do a 10. Let's say they win 10 games. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Kamara just had like probably 20 yards to rip off on a screen and just dropped it. That's unfortunate.
It's great. It's fantastic.
Sucks.
The 49ers missing their first, third, fourth, and fifth D end, their quarterback, their top running back, their top wide receiver, and the rest of the team, and all of their parents as well, because they weren't able to fill in this week, won 36-9 over the Giants. Now, I think this says more about the Giants than it does about the Niners.
I disagree.
But, like, how the fuck did they win 36-9 this week?
This is what's so infuriating about Patricia and the Lions is that you know what good you see it sometimes. There are these like weird flashes where like the way the Belichick Patriots have been this year with the way that they've changed their team, the way they use Rex Burkhead as their most important offensive player today, or the way like how like the 49ers can score 37 points missing most of their first team defense. And it doesn't seem to matter to good organizations with good coaches. So I don't really know what to tell you about that game. It pissed me off because like the Lions can't buy a win, but the 49ers just like seem to walk into these wins with nobody on the field. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't really have much to add because like that's exactly what it is. It's just like a good organization, which like 5 years ago, they looked like they were finally going down the path of being a bad organization at the end of the Harbaugh era, bringing Jim Tom Sula, who was garbage. But then they quickly just were like, nope, we're the Niners. We're always good. And I mean, even with basically practice squad players all over the field, they put up 36 points. Nick Mullins was their starting quarterback today. Jerick McKinnon is their featured back. Jerick McKinnon hasn't played in 2 years. Like
Jerick McKinnon's in that like Jordan Reed class where it's like when that dude's healthy, boy is he good. But I mean, he might trip over something tomorrow and be out for the year. I think that the gap between Nick Mullins and Jimmy Garoppolo is probably not that wide.
That might be it, man. I mean, Nick Mullins threw for like 350 today.
And he does that every time he comes in. He plays pretty well. If I'm Nick Mullins, I'm like the 33rd best quarterback in the NFL, you know?
Yeah. Joe Burrow. How about that guy?
I really like Joe Burrow, man. I know that they're not winning football games, really, but I don't care.
That is not his fault. That offensive line couldn't block a praying mantis. Dude, that offensive line.
Don't fuck with praying mantises. Just a disclaimer. They can kill humans. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Explain to me how praying mantis can kill a human, please, right now. I'm not moving forward until you do that.
God, you're going to make me Google this praying mantis.
Yeah, I used to keep praying mantises in cages inside my home. You're telling me they could have broke out and, grabbed a knife from my kitchen cupboard and slit my throat?
They are able to, lift 500 times their body weight or something?
Cool, so they can lift 6 ounces.
You're gonna make me the bug person, the bug guy on the show.
You brought up the bug. I mean, I brought up the bug thing, but you brought up the real bug thing.
Hold on. I'm just gonna Google praying mantis murder and see what happens.
If anybody has ever been killed by a praying mantis, they deserved it.
Just a bunch of stuff about praying mantises killing murder hornets. That's kind of interesting.
Oh, good for them! Look at them, our saviors and protectors.
Maybe anyway, let's move past it.
All right, I'm ready to move on, I guess. Although I will be researching that later. Joe Burrow, again, that offensive line can't stop anything. Mixon can't get going because of that. Joe Burrow is getting smoked every time he drops back. There was one play today where he had to leave the game for a play or two because he got hit so hard up top and down low. But even through that, 31 of 44, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns today. He has 1 pick on the season. He just looks like can I say something pretty damn bold here?
Sure.
He looks like Peyton Manning with a little bit less arm strength.
Wow. Peyton Manning was pretty bad his rookie year.
It was different football. Your rookie was going to throw 15 picks. Peyton Manning threw 19, but he was still everybody knew that he was going to be one of the greats from the time he was in college on. But that's what the arm strength is there. It's just not prime Peyton Manning where you can just chuck it down the field. But that's what he reminds me of, man. The presence in the pocket. He's not scared of anything. He senses the moment. I mean, I know they didn't pull off the win in overtime today. They got the tie, but dude, the dude does it all. He can run a little bit, especially in the red zone. He's a really confident runner in the red zone.
To me, Joe Burrow is 5% more Baker Mayfield, which is a pretty fucking good player.
Can we give him a little bit more than 5% more? Baker Mayfield threw 20 interceptions last year.
I think Baker Mayfield's really good. So 5% more of that to me is an all-star. He does a lot of the same things, right? He throws sick ropes. He's confident. He'll run the ball. He doesn't care. All that stuff. He does all of those same things.
We're also 19 games into Baker Mayfield not being that great with a really good offensive supporting cast.
I think he's been pretty good this year. I think he's been decent.
But I think Joe Burrow can be great, and that is more than 5% more than decent. But I think we're pretty much on the same page there. Where he's going to be really good.
Is he Matt Stafford?
He's better than that.
Better?
He'll be better. No, I don't think he's got the zip or the gunslinger-ness that Stafford has. I mean, he's got a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a different style. I think it's a more calm style, more methodical approach. And I think he's going to be in the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL sooner rather than later.
Yeah, well, it really feels like a big quarterback renaissance is happening right now in the NFL. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's going to be a year coming up here where nobody's looking for a quarterback. There will, of course, always be teams, but there's going to be years where it's not very many teams because there's so many good quarterbacks.
Did you see Jordan Love didn't dress today?
I didn't. That's
concerning.
I mean, I guess who cares? But if you've heard what they're saying about him through training camp, it's that he can't hit a target that's just sitting there. He can't do it. I think the more concerning thing is that AJ Dillon didn't have a single carry all day. So that's 2. Your first 2 picks absolutely flushed down the toilet and wasted when a team that needs wide receiver help had 2 separate opportunities to get a wide receiver that with Aaron Rodgers could have helped you immediately.
It looks like this is going to be an all-time legendary class of receivers as well. Not just the top end, but the depth at receiver. T. Higgins, because we were on the Bengals, caught a touchdown today, and it looks like both him and Tyler Boyd have kind of vaulted over past AJ Green on that. on that receiver core. Laviska Shenault's had moments with the Jaguars, and like those were like
CeeDee Lamb at 100 yards last week.
Yeah, Jerry Judy's been good. I mean,
Jerry Judy's the guy I feel bad for. Even he went 5 for 55 today, but he's got Jeff Driscoll and what's his name, Bryce Ripon, I think, came in for Driscoll at some point today. But just like I feel bad for Jerry Judy because I think him and Drew Lock could have really by the end of the year been something awesome, and he's gonna just struggle with these guys throwing him the ball right now. But even then, 5 for 55 today, like week 3 of his rookie season, bro, he's gonna be awesome.
I feel pretty good about a lot of those receivers. Michael Pittman's had some decent moments. I mean, just all of them seem to have hit. Even like Quintez Cephas in the Lions, I think, has been kind of interesting. Just interesting, nothing, just something we're seeing. I don't think we're going to see a lot of – I know we're going back to the Lions here, but I don't think we're going to see as much Danny Amendola the rest of the year. That's what I think is going to happen.
I think Danny Amendola's been creating separation. I just don't think Stafford's been hitting him. Which is weird because last year he was money to Amendola.
Yeah.
So I don't think they'll like cut him out of the rotation yet or even really drop what he's been doing so far. But if this continues for a few more weeks, you're right. There's obviously a chemistry issue there. So the Buccaneers 28-10 today over the Broncos. Tom Brady had like the ultimate Tom Brady game, just like got the lead and then wasn't going to throw for 500 yards, but he's going to throw for 300 at like a 70% completion rate. And he did that. He just controlled the game. He's like, you don't want to call him a game manager because game manager is always taken negatively, but he's just the best game manager to have ever lived. And he's the best quarterback who's ever lived, but he is a game manager at the very basis of what he does. He just does it way, way better than anybody else ever has.
He's got a lot of talent around him, and I think that helps too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, this isn't 2008 Brady. This isn't 2015 Brady. This guy is not quite as good as that, but he's still like he just knows football better than everybody else on the field every time. Even Gronk got involved today. Gronk was 6 grabs, 48 yards.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm still not quite seeing it with Gronk.
No, I mean I'm not going to add Gronk to my fantasy team, but do I think Gronk can make some big plays for that Buccaneers team? Yeah. You want to talk basketball?
Yeah, let's move into some basketball. I'm good with football. I'm good with football.
LeBron, the king of the NBA, is on to his 10th finals, his 9th finals in 10 years, with another absolutely dominant performance. 38 points, 16 boards, 10 assists, 4 straight jump shots to end the game in the fourth quarter last night. 5 games. It's not Moses Malone, faux, but it's 5, that's for sure. Easy money through the West. Oh, he can't get through the West. Guess what? It took him 15 games. Oh, but he got the easy path. Guess what? The Clippers choked. The Rockets weren't ready for him. Golden State had broken hands and torn ACLs all year. That's not his fault. The Nuggets, they came back 3-1 against 2 really good teams. What did he do? See ya. 5 games later. I don't need you. Oh, but he doesn't have to play the Bucks now. Yeah, because the Heat wiped the floor with the Bucks. Wiped the floor with them. Took them out easy. No problem. I'm done with the excuses. I'm done with the reasons as to why this isn't as important. No, he had 3 months off. So did everybody else. So did every other player in the league. This is the greatest basketball player who has ever lived. He's going to go win his 4th ring. He's going to hold all 4 of them up all pretty for you. He's not going to let Anthony Davis get that finals MVP. They're going to go up 3-1, and he's going to have a game where he scores 45. But this has just been unbelievable to see. He's 35. He's in year 17. And you want to know what he did in the fourth quarter last night? He said, "You guys don't think I'm the best player in the world? Are you fucking crazy? Let me drop 16 and wrap this shit up real quick." And he did it. Before the game, he told Chris Haynes, they're done. I'm taking them out tonight. He did it. He did it, no problem. It was easy money for the king. Easy money. 10th final, 4th ring's about to be on his finger. The Heat are going to be there waiting for him. And boy, if I know one thing about LeBron, he can't wait to kick the ass of the team Pat Riley built.
Let's move into the Eastern Conference. I don't have anything to add to that.
Okay, but before we do that, shout to the Nuggets. The Nuggets had an amazing playoff run.
Yes, they
Like
did. Oh,
to
I have
come
a
back
would you rather
3-1
about the
twice.
Nuggets later. I have a
Okay,
thing for the Nuggets later. Don't worry.
all right. Like Jamal Murray, 45% from three, 50-something percent from the field, 30 points a game. Jokic became a top 7 player in the league at worst during this postseason. You now have to look at this team and say, are they the future? We both believe they're one piece away. But these guys are 25 years old. They're 25. There could be a decade where this team is in it every single year. So, shout out to the Nuggets because this playoff run was one of the most enjoyable playoff runs I've got to watch ever.
We're going to spend more time there because I have a question that's about all of that coming up for you later when we do Would You Rathers. So let's go to the Eastern Conference where the Heat won Game 6. You said that you kind of felt like you thought the Celtics were going to kind of win that game. And I didn't, from what I watched, and full disclosure, I watched the first half and then I was combo watching football and then also on mute. And then I had Big Brother going because we do the Big Brother bonus bods weekly on the podcast side if you've never listened to them. And then kind of had the updated box score happening on my other monitor. And did the Celtics even lead in that game?
Yeah, I mean, that game was back and forth for most of the first 3 quarters, especially in the third, and then most of the fourth quarter as well. The Celtics were right there, and then the Heat did what the Heat have done in this entire series, which is the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter. They picked them apart. The Celtics wanted to do this, the thing LeBron and Kyrie did in 2016, where it's your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. The talent level isn't there for that, especially when you're going against the team that plays better team basketball than any other team in the NBA. You have to react to what's happening on the court. It's not just, can I go get a bucket? And it did them in again in the fourth quarter, and the Heat ended up winning this thing by 12. I'm pretty sure it was tied with 5.5 minutes left.
Yeah, it was tied, but I never saw at any point the Celtics up in a box score. Now I missed a pretty good chunk of the third quarter, but I definitely didn't see it in the first half because it was the Heat it seemed like I thought that the Celtics were going to linger and then pull it out at the end because it was the Heat are up 8, big bucket for the Celtics. Heat are up 10. Nope, here come the Celtics, 6 points. So, but that's, what you said is exactly what happened. Instead of the Celtics lingering and coming back, the Heat were hot and pulled away in the last 5 minutes because they just, something about that team, they're just a different team. I think they're just more. I don't want to do the they wanted it more. They're more competitive, but
I think you can do that
way.
Yeah. And not only that, maybe Brad Stevens isn't as great of a coach as we thought because they were completely outcoached. I'm not saying he's a bad head coach, but he's not a top 3 NBA head coach. I'd rather have Pop. I'd rather have Nurse. I'd rather have Spo all day.
Okay.
So maybe I might rather have Mike Malone right now.
No, I would not. I would not rather have Mike Malone right now.
What has told you that other than people loving Brad Stevens? This team doesn't play organized basketball. They play, let's go get a bucket ball.
Okay, I think that's a fair criticism that the offense didn't really have a whole lot of creativity to it, but I think that outside of Jason Tatum, they have a whole ton of super dynamic top 20 NBA players. Kemba's good, but I think he has a serious long-term health problem with his knee, it seems and it's kind of been off and on. I think that a lot of those Celtics guys are the core of the team is still pretty young. I think that their starting center is Dan Tice, or is it Daniel Tice?
Daniel Tice, underrated.
Okay,
but also your point, yes.
If you put the guy that the Rockets, I can't remember. My brain's so fried on basketball. If the Celtics have Clint Capella, even I think that's a team that makes the finals. I just think that he's doing a lot with a little, and he's done it a few times now. And I think he just kind of got a little unlucky going up against this specific Heat team, which are kind of tailor-made for this basketball situation that we're in. Marcus Smart, all those guys are guys who are playing their best basketball here. And we've seen players leave the Celtics and not be good. Avery Bradley is the big, obvious example to me. Gordon Hayward has been really injured. They got a lot of money in on that guy. I don't think that's Brad Stevens' fault. I think he's done a great job.
But then don't play him 32 minutes where he's shooting 35% from the field. Like, that's a coach's decision. He wanted Gordon Hayward to be the key so bad to unlocking it that he just kept playing him, and he kept getting burned on defense. He kept missing shots. I mean, my biggest takeaway from the series outside of Brad Stevens is, like, I am out on Jason Tatum being, like, the third next guy you'd start a franchise with after, like, Luka and Zion or Luka and Giannis. Like, I'm out on that. I don't know if he's in my top 5. Like, Zion, Jokic, Luka, like, those guys are all above him. Shot 10 for 26, 9 for 26 today. 26.4% from 3 for the series. 42% from the field against the Raptors. Like, the efficiency isn't there. He's got this hero ball style of play that, frankly, he's just not good enough to have yet.
I think if you're a title team, Jason Tatum is probably a slightly overqualified second guy more than like a fringe first guy. I think that's what we know about him at this point, which isn't an insult, I don't think, to be that he's probably like the 22nd or 23rd maybe best player in the NBA, somewhere right around there. Yeah, but he's not the next guy. He's not the guy, you know.
But also, I mean, the starting lineup is filled with talent. You have, like, potential all defense Marcus Smart. You have potential future all-star Jaylen Brown. You got Jason Tatum, and you got Kemba Walker. Like, that starting 5 is better than the Heat's starting 5 every day of the week, especially with the way Duncan Robinson has been playing in these playoffs, where he can't get a shot up.
Well, wait a minute. He had some good shots tonight.
Tonight he played well. Tonight was the first time he's pretty much played well in the entire playoffs. He went 5 for 7 from 3 tonight. But even with that, he shot. I will not say things about Duncan Robinson. 2 for. I love Duncan Robinson. He had a game where he was 2 for 7 from 3, 0 for 4, 3 for 11. Against the Bucks, he shot 27% from 3. He was all right. He was good against the Pacers in one game. He went 7 for 8. But other than that, he was below 50%, a 2 for 8 and a 1 for 7 game from 3. So, like, I don't think this was a huge talent discrepancy or anything like that. I think Stevens got out coached. Spo has this team firing on all cylinders, and
I agree that something is wrong with the Celtics roster. I agree that there's something needs to change. They've had a lot of options to kind of trade potentially either Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum for some more like marquee guys like Anthony Davis, and maybe this is the offseason where can you unload Gordon Hayward in a first round pick for like a Paul George level player, you know, something get something good to go with them, somebody who I think plays more of a position of need for them than what Gordon Hayward does, but it's tough to say. So NBA Finals preview. It's the Miami Heat and the Los Angeles Lakers. Andrew, how many games do you think the Lakers are going to win in?
5.
6 for me. I respect
5.
Ooh, 4 5s?
Yeah.
4 5s make sure all your kids don't grow?
Sure.
Sorry.
Yikes. I can't lie to you. The Heat do scare me a little bit.
It's a good matchup.
But the depth hasn't been what it was the first 2 rounds in that Celtics series. And really, honestly, even in the second round, it wasn't as great. They just kind of beat the shit out of the Bucks anyways. Jay Crowder has regressed back to Jay Crowder. Dragic isn't like this. He isn't what he was on the Suns in 2010 anymore. Like, he was that for a little bit. Jimmy Butler is not shooting 40% from 3. Bam Adebayo is amazing. But
the difference in the Celtics series, in my opinion.
But he's going up against the one guy who's going to make him look like a baby sometimes, and that's Anthony Davis. That mixed with the fact that, like, you can stick Jimmy Butler on LeBron, but it's not going to matter. It's just not. You can stick Andre Iguodala on him, but he's 90. You can try all these different looks, but it's just not going to be quite enough. I think most of these 5 games will be close. I hope you're right. I hope it does go 6. That'll be more exciting. But after hearing LeBron in the post game last night and just like how zeroed in that guy is on we've seen him before win a conference finals and like cry and like be ecstatic about it, especially when he had to run into Golden State after that. But like now he knows this doesn't mean anything if I don't get a ring. I have to get this ring. He's going to be as locked in as we've ever seen. I think he wants to I think he knows it might be his last opportunity to really just pound the other team into the dirt, go get a ring and say, I'm the best player in the world. There's no discussion. So I think for the first time in a while, he feels like he has something to prove. And I just think that'll carry the Lakers through this series.
The Heat are a good matchup for the Lakers. That's what I meant. They've got the right bodies kind of to throw on them. Bam versus Anthony Davis is going to be cool. I think you'll probably see both Jimmy Butler and Andre Iguodala guarding LeBron. But the rest of the Lakers are not good. They're just not that good. And it probably won't matter because of how good LeBron and Anthony Davis are. But if you're the win condition for me with the Heat is we're going to force Kyle Kuzma to score 28 points a game.
Okay. One, I love that we're disagreeing on everything tonight because we normally don't disagree on everything. Two, that's impossible. You can't. Right. There's no game plan to say Kyle Kuzma's got to score because LeBron and AD will just go get buckets.
Right. You sell out to guard them is what I'm saying, and you just leave Kyle Kuzma open.
Also, I think the argument you had about the rest of the Lakers not being that good has been put to shame throughout these playoffs. That was the argument everybody used as to why they weren't going to get to the finals. Rondo and Markieff Morris and KCP. KCP has been awesome. Playoff Rondo is here, still awesome, and he only is going to get better in the finals. Markieff Morris is shooting over 40% from three. At one point, he hit 9 out of 10. Danny Green shows up for the NBA Finals. He was horrible in the conference finals. He will be there for the NBA Finals. I mean, he's got 2 rings, and he was a big part in winning both of those. Not to mention the effort we saw from him in Game 5 on the defensive end, even when he couldn't get his shot to fall. That's huge. Alex Caruso is a damn good player. As much as it's hard to believe, Alex Caruso is a damn good player, especially when he's on the floor with LeBron. This Lakers depth, it might not be the best talent in the league, but it works together in a very strange, non-modern way. But it works together, and it works together well, especially in a playoff setting where it's just put your head down and get it done. Very similar to the Heat, how they've gone about it. The Lakers have gone about it in a similar way. We might not be this perfectly built, modern, shoot the threes, do that team, but we're perfectly built for the pieces we have to work together, especially with these 2 monsters we have in Anthony Davis and LeBron James.
Yeah, I think that having the number 2 and probably number 4 best players in the NBA are definitely cover up a lot of mistakes. I mean, but I don't think Kuzma's been particularly good in the playoffs. Alex Caruso is good. I think specifically with LeBron, it's got big little brother. Yeah, good big brother, little brother, where they're just what do you want to do, LeBron? Okay, here you go. And he's fine doing that, and so he'll get paid. But I think that if you're willing to do something extreme and leave players potentially open in the Lakers, it might be interesting. I think they're going to win a couple games.
They've tried. This is every LeBron team dating back to the second year of the Cavs. There's going to be 5 guys in that rotation who you're we can just leave them open. And then you realize that these are NBA players, and if you double LeBron, he's going to find them. And they're going to make shots. They're going to make shots.
We'll see.
It might not be at a 45% clip, but they're going to make shots. And again, the Lakers have proved this all through the playoffs. Every time somebody doubts the Lakers, it's for that reason. And then the players show up.
I think this is the best team the Lakers have played in the playoffs so far. So that's the other reason, too. That's why I think it goes 6.
I think the Nuggets have been better than the Heat.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I think that about the Nuggets. I'm not sure.
The Heat got the Bucks on their resume. The Nuggets got the Clippers on their resume. But the Nuggets also had their 2 best players as hot as they've ever been, which was the case for the Heat in rounds 1 and 2, and looks like it's no longer the case with Jimmy Butler, at least. Bam is probably still as hot as he's ever been.
I still think Jimmy Butler was just really kicks ass. He's doing a lot of the ball handling. He's getting in the basket still. I still see a lot of stuff I really like from Jimmy Butler, even if his 3-point shooting has cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm also really disappointed with your Kyle Kuzma take because although he's not putting up 18 a game in the playoffs, he's like literally filling his role perfectly,
He's
cutting when
playing
he
good
needs to cut.
defense.
His
Yeah,
defense is dramatically improved.
definitely better.
He needs to become a better jump shooter, but he's made them when he's needed to make them. So I understand Heat and 6 because there is a little bit of fear in my heart from the Heat, but I still think LeBron is so locked in that it's only going 5.
I just think that there will be a game where Spoelstra has some weird like up his sleeve that he pulls out. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know what I think
You don't
that
think
is.
the savant LeBron James knows what Eric Spoelstra has coached for 4 years has up his sleeve?
I think that equally true that the savant Eric Spoelstra might know kind of what LeBron wants to do in an NBA Finals. I think
Eric
that cuts
Spoelstra's
both
not
ways.
on the court.
Yeah,
But then you're saying Eric Spoelstra is as valuable in that scenario as LeBron James, and it's just not the case.
that's a good point.
So,
but
but
Spoelstra as a coach is
we're
obviously
not very far apart in this
yeah,
discussion.
we're a game apart.
Pretty much, yeah. So I got Lakers 5, you got Lakers 6.
That's just purely
which
out of
means
respect.
it's going 6 because I literally like even when I pick the Heat to win, I pick them in 7. They're like, nah, we're gonna do it in 6. Like that Heat team does whatever it can to just spoil any predictions I have.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I've gotten anything right in these NBA playoffs after last year going like almost perfect. So
I'm in their good graces too. I got that good karma.
It's been rough. Let's move on to would you rather sports.
Would you rather? A section that we definitely made up and nobody has ever done before us.
Nope. That's us. You want to start? You want me to start?
I'm going to start because we're kind of already there. Would you rather have the Celtics roster or the Nuggets roster after this season? At this moment in time.
The Nuggets. No. Yeah, the Nuggets. No, the Celtics. Final answer, the Celtics.
Okay, I'm going with the Nuggets.
Okay, I think the top-end talent on the Nuggets I would rather have, but I think I can get a star to Boston easier to go with the roster and pieces they already have.
Ooh, I think that the tough thing about the Celtics roster is you have to find a way to get rid of Gordon Hayward to bring a star in. So you're probably looking at some sort of 3-team deal, in my opinion, to get Gordon Hayward off of your roster.
First-round pick to a bad team. Here you go. Fine.
Sure. So then that team also has to have somebody that's better than Gordon Hayward to give up. So I just don't think that they're like fishing holes. There aren't that many of them. Whereas I think the Nuggets are going to have a little cap space. I don't think they were a luxury tax this team. I got to check luxury tax team this year. I have to check, but and I think that they're not going to be paying $20 million or whatever for Paul Millsap after the season. I think that they've got some
but the extension for Murray kicks in.
Yeah, but I mean that's all NBA teams. If you're an elite NBA team, you're paying 2 contracts like that. But
I get that, but I just don't think they're going to have. I think they might have like 8 or 9. I mean, even Gary Harris is getting paid in the double digits.
I think that they're going to move on from Gary Harris. I have been Gary Harris's biggest fan, Michigan State's own Gary Harris, but now I think is the time to sell.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's a really easily movable contract and also a valuable asset that you could use to get another top player. All right, I got one for you.
Yeah.
Would you rather have for the next 5 years Embiid and Harden or Simmons and Harden?
Embiid and Harden. I don't even have to think about that.
You're the only person I've got that answer from so far.
Whatever, dude. James Harden forever.
Yeah, Embiid and Harden or Simmons and Harden. You get Harden in either scenario.
Okay, I'm still going to stick with that, though. I think Embiid Harden is really cool. I think that would be a really, really, really cool, fun, dynamic, impossible to guard duo. Impossible.
Yeah, I think Simmons and Harden, though, is just like better Russ and Harden. Like it's still a 1 and a 2 at its core, even though Simmons would probably play the 4 in that lineup. But you got 2 guys who can really handle the ball, 2 good decision makers. You no longer need Simmons to develop a really good jump shot, although you still want it. And you no longer need Simmons to be like the guy who you trust with your offense because that's something he seems nervous of or at least weary of. So I'd go Simmons and Harden. I also think the window is longer with those 2.
I think that you're making the wrong argument against Embiid and Harden, which is that do you really want to unleash Joel Embiid and James Harden off the court together?
Yeah, I'm not. I Harden. Like people get mad because he goes out after he loses. You want to know what I do when I have a rough day? I have a little glass of whiskey. Like it's not. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
right.
saying? Like
Yeah.
he's not a perfect human being. All right, what you got? You're next.
I'm gonna bring you down a little bit here. Would you rather James Dolan buy the team for 4 years or Matt Patricia coaches the team for 4 more years?
Fuck. Um.
I'd rather Matt Patricia coach the team for 4 years.
Yeah, me too. Wait, so James Dolan only owns the team for 4 years?
He owns the team and is making the decisions
For 4 years only.
for 4 years only.
Give me Dolan.
Oh,
The Pistons aren't
I
going to
don't
be
like
good in
that.
4 years. Give me Dolan.
The Lions.
Oh, he's buying the Lions?
Yeah, he's buying the Lions.
Yeah, give me Dolan, man. I don't care. Like your own, like owners. What is it going to be worse than the Fords? Probably not. So,
I
like,
think
give
he
me
might
Dolan.
do a little bit worse than the Fords.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. At least he'd care. So I'll take
Sure.
4 years of Dolan and then
A lot
sell
of
the
really
team to
bad,
Gilbert.
smooth jazz on Ford Field. You're up. What you got?
All right, this one's pretty basic, but I think it's just an interesting sports question. Would you rather hit a walk-off tank or a buzzer beater 3?
Buzzer beater 3. And the reason why, there's only one reason why, and it's because it's more fun to celebrate in basketball than baseball. Because I have to do it, I have to still run around all the bases, and if I celebrate too much, all the baseball people are going to be like, "You should be more respectful about the game." And then I'm going to jump into home plate, and all my teammates are going to go, "Yay!" And then we're all going to be done. In basketball, the whole world explodes when you hit a buzzer beater, and that's way more fun.
Have you ever seen Prince Fielder after he hit a walk-off?
Sure. Yeah. Am I Prince Fielder? Am I that beloved?
When Prince Fielder hit a walk-off, he would jump into the middle of home plate, and all his teammates would fall like there was a giant earthquake.
And I'm sure that every baseball radio show had a problem with that.
No, see, walk-offs, it's weird. Walk-offs are the one thing you're allowed to just lose your mind. You're allowed to lose your mind when you hit a walk-off. Like, you can do whatever you want. You can fist pump around the bases. You could run backwards if you want. Actually, that would probably cross the line. But I actually agree. I'd rather hit a buzzer beater 3. I just think it's a little bit more exciting. Although, baseball, a walk-off home run is pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. In basketball, you can run to the center of the court and penguin slide across the logo, and all your teammates will jump on top of you. And everybody in the arena is so much closer to you. And just situationally, the way that it is, and the number of people on a baseball
jump up on a scorer's table.
Yeah, there's so many more fun things you can do without having to deal with the first take segments about how you don't respect the game that you've played your whole life.
You're right.
You're the athletic director of a college program. Would you hire Matt Patricia or Jim Harbaugh? Let me give you some additional framing for this question. I think that you're Vanderbilt. So you're in the SEC, but you're not a good team, and you need to make a splash. You need to take a gamble to kind of revamp your program. Do you hire Matt Patricia or Jim Harbaugh?
Okay. I'm going to get killed for this.
Yeah, you are. I fucked you.
Okay. I almost feel 97% of people's answer is Jim Harbaugh because Jim Harbaugh is the better football coach than Matt Patricia. But this is funny because I actually thought about this yesterday. What if Matt Patricia took over a college program? One, he gets to recruit for his scheme out of thousands of players, okay? He can pick anybody in the country, and those are the guys he gets in. Two, I think the scheme just works a little bit better in college. I think you are going to have less of a speed gap. I think you can recruit some big, powerful guys on defense. You're expecting your defense to be slower in college, where in the NFL, your defense has to be almost as quick, if not quicker, than the offense. So I'm going to go Matt Patricia. I actually think he'd be a really good college coach, which is
that's why
I can't believe I said that, but I think he'd be a good college coach. All right. Would you rather 5 rings, 1 All-Star appearance, and $50 million in career earnings, or 1 ring, 10 All-Star appearances, and $200 million in career earnings?
$50 million for me. I mean, if we're just talking what is that? Just contract money?
Yeah.
Then
period.
Yeah.
Period. We're not going to be I'll get endorsements on the side. That's
well,
cheating.
I mean, whatever. I'm going to buy a car dealership. I'm going to run all my money through a laundromat and double my money. $50 million for me. Maybe this is like just some extreme youth, but the difference between $50 million and $200 million is whatever. I'd rather be a winner.
Yeah. Okay. I got two things on this. One, nobody cares about the one-time All-Star who won 5 rings. That guy's Danny Green. Okay.
Okay.
2, I want $200 million, 10 All-Star appearances, and if I get a ring on the way, very nice. Like, I'm a team player, I think, right? But fuck that. Give me $200 million. That's me. That's my kids. That's my kids' kids, and that's my kids' kids'. Like, we're good there.
All right. Last but not least, would you rather the Pistons make a pick or 7 or trade their pick?
Is it trade for 2? Is it trade down? Is it?
If you're trading, it's whatever you want. I'm not going to point you in a direction.
I would rather have all 3 of Boston's picks. So it's like 14, 20-something, and 20-something. Then 7.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because
Why?
I think this draft is pretty deep, mid-first to end of first, and I think it's obviously not deep at all at the top part of the first round. So I'll take the 3 first-round picks. I'll hope to hit on 1 over the hope that I hit on 1 for 1.
I'm coming around on Tyrese Halliburton at 7.
If Killian's gone, sure, but if Killian's there, I need Killian.
Yeah, if Killian's there at 7, I want Killian. Otherwise, I want Tyrese Halliburton. That's kind of where I'm at. I would like the Pistons to pick. I would not like them to trade. I don't trust trading down for 3 picks in the mid to high teens to lower 20s. As we've seen from the Celtics, that's a pretty tough spot to draft in. They've missed a bunch of those, so I'm sure they'd be eager to move up. And I'll say this too, if that happened, I probably wouldn't hate the trade, but I would rather pick at 7 and take Tyrese Halliburton.
By the way, I'd get those 3 picks, and then I'd take Luke Kennard in 26 and trade it for 10, and then I got like 10, 14, and 24.
Okay, I like that. That would be cool. It'll never happen, but it would be great if it did.
All right, and then I got one last one for you.
Okay.
Would you rather Mitch Trubisky or Dwayne Haskins?
Dwayne Haskins.
Really? I think I'm Mitch.
Yeah.
That's a weird role reversal.
This is a weird, we're like the shadow version of ourselves today. I think Dwayne Haskins seems like there might be some room to grow. I know he's like really young, even for a quarterback. The Washington fans are kind of like maybe talking themselves into it. Maybe they're just desperate. I'd like to see Dwayne Haskins, I think, before Mitch Trubisky. I feel like I've been hurt too many times by Mitch Trubisky. Talk about a bad boyfriend. Mitch Trubisky keeps bringing me flowers, and I keep accepting them. And I'm done. You know, I've deleted his phone number, and I've told him not to call me.
So you're done with a 3-0 team, but the 1-2 team that's won 10 games in the last 3 years, you're like, keep bringing me flowers. Keep bringing me flowers.
Dwayne Haskins hasn't really hurt me yet. If anything, he's consistently been like the bum boyfriend who kind of over time you save. And I think I'd be more willing to try that at this point than Mitch Trubisky. Just want to try something new, date a different kind of guy. Yeah,
Parker is just really hoping the relationship with Dwayne Haskins works, I guess. So, all right, I'm done with the show. We're done for the night. You got any final thoughts or anything, or can I wrap this thing up?
I don't know. No, wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Go check out Apple Pod's Fan2Fan Detroit. Subscribe to us there. Leave a review. Spotify, YouTube, Facebook. We're in all those places, just like I told you in the beginning of the show. But we're officially in all those places. We told you we were going to be on Apple Pods, and we did it for you. We finally got there. So thank you all for listening. Again, if you watch Big Brother, go check out our Big Brother bonus bod, a.k.a. a mini Big Brother podcast. But go check that out, and we will see you guys same place, same time next week, Tuesday, 7:30. We're going to have some NBA Finals talk for you, as that'll be well underway. And, of course, week 4 of the NFL season, we hopefully will revisit our Josh Allen, Patty Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson discussion after Josh Allen goes for 405 touchdowns.